He had everything money could buy: penthouse views, private cars, a life scheduled down to the minute. She had a violin case, a street corner, and a song that made strangers stop breathing for a second. They were never supposed to meet. They were never supposed to notice each other. But one evening, on a crowded city sidewalk, a single melody rewrote both their futures. And what started as a passing moment became the kind of love that changes where you belong. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more romantic stories. The city had a way of breathing at dusk, windows glowing warm, cafe doors exhaling laughter, sidewalks humming with 1,000 small stories. On the corner of Linden and 9th, a violin sang its way through the evening. Mara played with her eyes half closed, chin tucked to the worn wood of her instrument. The violin wasn't beautiful, its varnish had thinned to a soft honey color, and a small crack traced the curve of its body like a smile line. But when Mara drew her bow across the strings, the street stilled just a little. Coins paused mid-clink in pockets. Footsteps slowed. Even the traffic seemed to listen. Across the street, a black car rolled to a quiet stop. Elias Crane stepped out, the sort of man whose tailored suit seemed to arrange the air around him. People recognized him sometimes, on magazine covers, on conference stages, in the small print of charitable foundations. Tonight, though, no one noticed. Not really. They were watching Mara. He hadn't planned to stop. His calendar had been stitched tight with dinners and decisions and the soft ache of expectations. But the sound, gentle, bright, hopeful, found a seam in him he didn't know was there. Mara finished a phrase and opened her eyes to find a small crowd, and one man standing slightly apart, hands in his pockets, smiling like he'd just remembered something good about the world. "Encore," someone called. She laughed, breathless. "You'll wear out my poor violin." Elias crossed the street before he could talk himself out of it. "If it's any consolation," he said, voice warm, "your violin seems happy to be tired." Mara tilted her head, studying him. "Is that so? I'm fairly certain instruments know when they're loved." Her smile curved, slow and curious. "You're a poet." "Only when I'm caught off guard." She played again, shorter this time, playful notes that danced and winked. When the last sound faded, the little crowd melted away, leaving the corner to the two of them and the soft evening glow. "Thank you for stopping," Mara said, dropping her bow to her side. Most people rush past like the music might spill on their shoes. "I'm glad it did," Elias replied. "What's your name?" "Mara." "Elias." They shook hands, a small, simple thing that somehow felt like a promise. He slipped a bill into her open case, far more than necessary, and she frowned. "Hey," she said. "That's too much." He shrugged. "Think of it as an investment in the city's happiness." She closed the case gently. "Then you'll have to come back tomorrow and see if your investment paid off." He found himself smiling wider than he had in weeks. "Deal." Tomorrow became the next evening, and then the one after that. Elias started scheduling his day around Linden and 9th, trading boardrooms for sidewalks, polished silence for bright strings. Mara learned the particular way he listened, with his whole face, and began to save certain songs for him, softer ones, like secrets you could hum. They talked about small things at first. Favorite pastries. The best places to watch the sky turn pink. The odd kindness of strangers. Elias never mentioned his empire of companies. Mara never mentioned how tight money could get when rain kept people indoors. Their worlds brushed but didn't collide, yet. One night, as a warm breeze threaded through the street, Mara packed up her violin and hesitated. "There's a rooftop nearby," she said. "You can see the river catch the city lights. I go there when I want to remember why I love this place." Elias followed her up a narrow staircase to a roof that felt like a secret balcony for the sky. The river shimmered below them, carrying reflections like scattered stars. "Play for me?" he asked softly. She did, and the music floated up into the open air, where it seemed to belong. When she finished, the silence that followed was tender, not empty. "I should tell you something," Elias said, the words careful. "About who I am." Mara set her violin down and met his eyes. "Okay." Before he could continue, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She glanced at the screen, surprised, and her smile shifted into something thoughtful. "That's unexpected," she murmured. She looked back at Elias. "Someone just offered me a spot in a traveling ensemble. They leave in a week." The city breathed around them, the river holding its quiet glitter. Elias felt the moment widen, as if the night itself were waiting to hear what they would say next. Elias let the silence stretch, not heavy, just honest. The city below them hummed like a patient heart. "A traveling ensemble," he repeated, tasting the words. "That sounds big." Mara nodded, eyes shining with a mix of thrill and nerves. "It's been a dream of mine since I was 16. Playing in different cities. Letting the music wander." She laughed softly. "I didn't think they'd ever find me on a street corner." "Street corners are where the best things hide," Elias said. Then, more quietly, "How do you feel about it?" "I feel like the universe just handed me a door and said, 'You can open this one if you're brave.'" She glanced at him. "And I also feel like I just found something here I wasn't expecting." He understood the double pull in her voice. The way wanting more could mean leaving something precious behind. "I should tell you the rest," he said, finally. "I'm not just a guy who likes walking at dusk. I run a few companies. People think I have roots in boardrooms and glass towers. But honestly?" He smiled, a little self-aware. "I've been feeling rootless for a while." Mara blinked. "Wait. Elias Crane?" He nodded. "That one." She let out a breathy laugh. "Wow. Okay. That explains the car. And the shoes. And the way I look confused when I try to use a parking meter," he said. They both laughed, the tension easing. She sobered first. "So you're a billionaire." "On paper," he said. "In practice, I'm a guy who didn't know he missed music until you found him with it." Mara's fingers brushed the worn edge of her violin case. "Our lives are very different." "Different doesn't have to mean distant," Elias said. "But it does mean we have to be honest about what we want." The breeze lifted a loose strand of hair across her cheek. He reached out, then paused, letting the moment choose him. She leaned in just enough that his knuckles brushed her skin, a spark that felt like a promise trying to be born. "I want to go," she admitted. "And I don't want to lose whatever this is." He took that in, then nodded. "Then don't lose it. Take it with you. In some way." "In what way?" she asked, half smiling, half scared. Elias pulled out his phone, hesitated, then tucked it away. "Not just messages and calls. I want to show up. I can work from anywhere. Boardrooms have Wi-Fi in every city worth singing in." Her laugh came out bright and surprised. "You're serious?" "As serious as a man who rearranged his life around a street corner," he said. "Let me come to your first stop. No headlines, no fuss. Just me in a crowd, listening." The river lights flickered like they approved. Mara searched his face for a long moment, then nodded, slow and certain. "Okay," she said. "Come listen." Below them, a horn sounded on the river, long and low, as if marking the beginning of something brave. They stood there, shoulder to shoulder, the city stretching before them like a map of possibilities, each light a place they might find each other again. And as Mara picked up her violin to play one last song for the rooftop, Elias wondered which city her music would carry them to first. The rooftop held its breath as Mara lifted her violin. The first notes drifted out, soft as a promise whispered into open air. The river answered with a shimmer, the city with a hush that felt like approval. When the song ended, neither of them spoke right away. Some endings were meant to be quiet. They walked down the narrow stairs together, steps in sync without trying. At the corner of Linden and 9th, the streetlight painted the sidewalk gold. This was where they had begun, by accident, by listening. Elias stopped beside her case. "When's your first stop?" She smiled, a little crooked with nerves and hope. "Harbor City. I leave next Thursday." "Then I'll be there," he said. "No announcements. No entourage. I'll find your music the way I found it here." She studied him the way you study the horizon before a long trip. "And if you can't find me?" "Then I'll listen harder," he said. Mara laughed, and it sounded like bells. She stepped closer, close enough that the space between them felt like something fragile and precious. "You know, you could just text me." He grinned. "I plan to. But I like the romance of listening harder." They shared a look that said more than either of them was brave enough to say out loud. The kind of look that didn't close a door, it left it open on purpose. A bus sighed to a stop nearby, its doors opening with a patient whoosh. Mara slung her violin over her shoulder. "I should go," she said. "There's a lot to pack. And a lot to practice." "I'll walk you to the stop," Elias offered. They moved together down the sidewalk, their shadows long and gentle in the streetlight. When the bus arrived, she climbed the first step, then turned back. "Elias?" "Yeah?" "Don't be late to Harbor City." His smile was steady. "I won't be." The doors closed with a soft finality, and the bus rolled away, carrying her music into the future. Elias stood there longer than he meant to, the corner suddenly quiet but not empty. It was full of what might come next. Somewhere beyond the lights, a city waited to hear a violin sing. And somewhere within that city, a man would be listening, hoping to recognize the song when it found him again.